We all cherish the feeling of coming home, locking the front door, and knowing we are completely alone and safe. The deadbolt slides home. The chain goes across. The world is locked outside. Inside, we are protected. But what if the lock on your front door isn't protecting you from what's outside? What if it's trapping you inside with something that was already there long before you arrived? This is the terrifying reality of a crime called frogging, from the French word for frog, a reference to the way a hidden person moves silently and invisibly through a space that belongs to someone else, just as a frog moves through water. When a stranger secretly lives inside your home, using your food, your shower, your warmth, existing in the walls and spaces above your ceiling while you go about your life just a few feet below, completely unaware. Take the story of a young woman named Sarah, who moved into her first solo apartment in a quiet, normal suburban neighborhood. It was a spacious, older house divided into two duplexes, with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a small square wooden hatch set into the bedroom ceiling that led to the attic above. The landlord had mentioned it briefly during the walkthrough. Storage, he'd said. The previous tenant never used it. A few weeks after moving in, Sarah began noticing small, easily dismissible inconsistencies in her apartment. She would buy a carton of milk, use a little for her morning coffee, and the next morning it would be completely empty. She would leave the TV remote on the coffee table before bed, and find it wedged under the sofa cushions in the morning. She blamed her own forgetfulness. The stress of moving. Living alone for the first time. She started keeping a shopping list, double-checking the remote before she went to bed. But then, the noises started. Late at night, lying in the dark, she would hear the slow, deliberate creak of floorboards from directly above her head. Not the random settling of an old building, but the rhythmic, patient creak of something moving with purpose. Coming from the attic. She called her landlord, who dismissed it immediately. Raccoons, he said. Old houses had them all the time. He'd have someone look at it. No one came. The sounds continued. The feeling of being watched grew suffocating, a physical pressure behind her eyes every time she was alone in her bedroom. One evening, she came home 2 hours earlier than usual. She walked into her bedroom to change her shoes. She froze in absolute terror. The wooden hatch in the ceiling was open, hanging at an angle. And suspended down from the dark rectangle of the attic above was a dirty, knotted rope ladder, its bottom rung swinging gently in the air. Sarah did not scream. She did not climb the ladder to look. She turned around, walked out of the front door, and called the police from the locked interior of her car. When officers climbed into the attic, they found a man in his late 40s who had been living up there for months, before Sarah had even signed her lease. He had a mattress. Empty food wrappers from her kitchen. A bucket. A phone charger plugged into a junction box in the roof space. And positioned directly above a small, pre-existing crack in the attic floor, directly above her bed, he had placed a folded cloth, which she would lie on to peer down through the crack with a perfect, unobstructed view of her sleeping. When she went to work each morning, he would descend, eat, shower, watch her television, and climb back up before she returned. He was arrested. Sarah moved out that same night and never returned. It is a story that proves the most terrifying monsters don't always announce themselves. Sometimes, they live above your ceiling, listening to your breathing, and waiting for you to fall asleep. Subscribe to Echoes in the Dark, new mysteries unsealed every week.